Hello everyone. Again, I'm Dr. Matsuno. This is the lesson number 0, which basically means that I'm going to start the review very basic things just in case you have forgotten or you didn't get it for the first time. So I'm going to actually cover very basic things that we have covered at the beginning of my presence in April. But let's see. Now, we actually started out with the いいお天気ですね。いいお天気ですね。By the way, do you guys remember? いいお天気ですね。いいお天気ですね。Now, do you remember いいお天気ですね? Now, if you write it in Japanese, いいお天気ですね. This is where we started, alright? Now, but keep that in mind. If you cannot read hiragana, you can use hiragana sheet, but at the same time, you also want to learn how to read hiraganas. What you see right here is a pronunciation called romaji. It's a romaji. It's a pronunciation expressed in Roman characters, so alphabets basically. So for the most part, I will write in hiraganas, but again, for pronunciation purpose, I do write in romaji as well. So keep that in mind. Now, いい means what? Good. お天気ですね. お天気, as you may know, what is it? The weather. Weather. And ですね. です alright? です is a statement form, alright, for is or am. It's like a pronoun basically, alright? So is, in this case, alright, ですね is an affirmative, alright? So ですね makes it ですね. It's an affirmative form, so it's sort of like isn't it or isn't it? Alright? So keep that in mind. So now, so good weather, isn't it? So in this case, what it means would be good weather, isn't it? Or it is a good weather, isn't it? Alright, that's what it means. Alright? So now that's where we started. So now good means in Japanese it's いい. Alright, お天気 is weather, and ですね is sort of like a statement form. Keep that in mind. Now, if you don't know these words, you may have to memorize them, because if you don't, as you progress more and further out, without knowing these words, it's pretty hard to actually do Japanese, and you may not be interested in Japanese, or you might be, I don't know. But again, doing a foreign language, whatever the foreign language it is, could be Spanish, could be Japanese, speaking without not knowing the actual vocabulary could be very difficult. So keep that in mind. Be sure to actually memorize and write down each word. If you do not know what these words are, alright, get your composition book out and write down. Put いい, alright. First you want to write down in Japanese いい. Alright, and you want to write down in romaji pronunciation, and いい means good. So you want to write down basically new word list, alright, new words, alright, and list. And you make basically 3 columns, one with Japanese characters, one with pronunciation, romaji, and then the definition of it. So keep that in mind. So you want to do that, alright. So now, so いいお天気ですね. Now, お天気, you already know お天気. Alright? お天気. Alright? お天気 is weather. Now, keep that in mind. Again, お天気, it just means weather. I mean, some people say like good weather, what's the weather? There's none of that. お天気 is just a noun for weather. So keep that in mind. Alright? So now, some people call it 天気. Alright? Some people call it 天気. And there's no O here, so keep that in mind. Alright? 天気, お天気, they're the same thing. O makes it polite. sort of like you know the phrase お名前は何ですか? お名前は何ですか? Alright? お名前は何ですか means your name is what? Is your name? What is your name? Alright? But お名前 again is a name, or 名前 itself is a name. So keep that in mind. O is just a polite form to be added on that noun 名前. So keep that in mind. Alright? So お天気. Alright? So now we have お天気. Alright? So now we're going to add something. Alright? So now how about 今日のお天気は何ですか? 今日のお天気は何ですか? Now, again, お天気, you already know that means weather. And 今日, what's 今日? What is 今日? Something to do with day. Well, 今日 means today. Alright? And now, keep that in mind here. 今日のお天気は今日のお天気は何ですか? Let's repeat after me, right? 今日のお天気は何ですか? So whole sentence would be 今日のお天気は何ですか? 今日のお天気は何ですか? Now, 何ですか is our famous sentence or our famous word, means what is. 何ですか means what is. And now, 今日の, right? の is a possessive, it's a particle. No is a particle for possessive, alright? Particle is added to the end of a noun, in this case, 今日. Right? Japanese doesn't have preposition or we have adverb, but prepositions we don't have one. Alright? Or in this case, possessions. How do we know it's a possession? Like my, your pen, my chalk, my tie, his book. Alright, those possessiveness, alright, or possessive form is actually expressed by something called particle, which goes with the noun and makes the noun to be that certain form. In this case, possessive. So in this case, no is apostrophe s. So today's, right? Otenki is weather. And today's weather, what is? Okay, so the sentence would be today's weather, what is? What does it mean? Well, in English, in this case, what is today's weather? So why does Japanese word have the verb at the end? Because linguistically it was just developed that way. There's no reason. English just happens to be the case where verb comes right after the subject. So I say, I speak Japanese, instead of I Japanese speak. I mean, it's just you assume the verb comes right after the subject. It's just the way it is. In Japanese case, the verb always comes at the end. The Japanese people's brain is just wired that way. They just wait for the verb to come at the end. Right? So, in this case, the correct English sentence would be, what is today's weather? Right? So that's how it's translated. Now, of course, you want to be able to speak Japanese, so let's practice. Right? 今日のお天気は何ですか? 今日のお天気は何ですか? So whole sentence would be 今日のお天気は何ですか? 今日のお天気は何ですか? So that's how it goes. So again, what is today's weather? So keep that in mind. Be sure to